Oh. What? What? Okay. Yeah, okay. Hey, Patty.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm okay. How about yourself?
Are you sure you're okay?
I
I
mean,
mean, are
am
you
I
good?
sure? What?
Healthy? Are you well?
Um, well, yeah, I am. Um, there's things going on, but yeah, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. It's all kind of
Just
frustrating. So
okay. But you're not coming tomorrow, right?
I'm not coming tomorrow. No,
Okay, I got that.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to miss it, but
That's okay. You've only taken this class 6 times.
yeah.
I will
So
expect to see you in January.
I'm gonna keep coming till I get it right. Yeah.
Hi, Dave.
Hey, Dave.
Hi Cindy, hi Patty.
Okay. Oh, David Cardinal's here too.
I
Oh,
didn't mean to respond for the other day.
Well, really. Who are you? Yeah.
Dave, you're all welcome. Both Daves.
Yeah.
So we won't have Mike. We won't have John. I think we're waiting for
Oh,
Karen and
oh, no,
Lindsay.
John either. Oh,
Well, I think John is now on his leave of absence.
ah. Leave of absence from the committee?
Yeah,
Oh, really? For how long?
6 months.
Really, truly. So that's November, December, January, February, March, April through. Oh, okay. He'll be back in Mayish. Okay.
I think they're spending some time. I think they're
They're
gonna,
traveling. Yeah.
yeah, but I think there's been like several months just in Europe.
Hello. Ooh,
So,
hello.
No,
hi,
hello.
Karen.
How are you guys?
Good.
Good.
What are you
Getting,
eating?
getting better.
I just
you-
had our first ad hoc site evaluation committee.
Oh my
And then
gosh.
I came home and scarfed down some food, but I'm a little stressed. So I'm having some candy, which I know I shouldn't have. I'm having comfort food right now.
I think that committee would, yeah, it would be
Well,
stressful.
we have our work cut out for us and this is not confidential information. The sites aren't public. So this meeting, in my opinion, was a bit circular because we need to schedule site visits, but we can't discuss which sites. I mean, the whole thing is it's very interesting because the owners of the property need to give their permission in order for it to be public. So we were chomping
Weird.
a bit and we couldn't really get some traction. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense.
Yeah, I'll be
Yeah.
right. Excuse me.
That's all about housing,
Yeah.
ad hoc site.
Yeah, they're looking for alternative sites.
Well,
So
they
we
should
don't
have
need
it
to-
right across from Blue Oaks. There's a whole bunch of land right there that owned by the town that's not being used.
Yeah, but it's on a slope.
Yeah,
That land isn't, you can't legally develop that land. We looked at that.
Yes.
It's only
Really?
one means of egress, not for affordable housing. It's too steep. There's only one means of egress. It'd be wonderful. That'd be so perfect to develop it, but it's not legal, unfortunately.
Yeah,
oh,
they
yeah.
looked at it. I think that's gonna be the frustration is the former ad hoc committee looked at so many sites and there's just not a
They
lot
don't
of
exist.
inventory left. Anyway, okay,
Okay,
this is
okay,
Parks and Rec.
Yep.
yeah,
Um,
okay.
Okay, I'm calling to order at 7:31. I don't know where Lindsay is, but
Okay.
okay, any oral comments? Dave Cardinal, anything to say?
I always have something to say, but not right now. Thank you.
In the meeting, this meeting is being recorded.
Yeah, this meeting is being recorded. Okay, approval of minutes from October.
I motion to approve.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Okay. I don't think we have any new business. I couldn't think of any.
Mm-mm.
Anybody else have any new business? No? Okay. All right, so let's run into old business then. Cindy. let's
Yep.
do Night update.
Okay, game night is coming along swimmingly. So we had a practice night and we made a bunch of decisions like how long to play the music, how we're going to kind of do it. We're not doing Name That Tune. We are actually doing bingo. Patty came up with some really good ideas that I really like. One of them is that we're going to, in the music bingo part, we're going to play it like Yahtzee. So you'll have a score sheet that has multiple bingos on it. We can have up to 14. Mike and I want to test that 14 to see how long it takes to get 14 bingos, you know, with the same cards on a particular table. But what it would be like, it'd be like Yahtzee bingo. So you've got a card that says, okay, you got bingo with the B's going down vertically, I-N-G-O. You can have the four corners, you can have around the square. So there's 14 different bingos can happen on one card. And we kind of like that idea a lot.
So
And pardon?
do you have on this one card, are there 14 different grids or are you just playing the same grid over?
You're playing the same card, but the different
Got it.
bingos can happen.
Well,
So
Yeah.
everybody at the table has a card. So a
Yeah, each
table would have
table
one
has a
card,
card.
one Yahtzee card that they would fill out for each of the bingos.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Okay. So then Mike also wanted to do, if we can have, we don't know the timing yet because we need to test that kind of scenario. But if we can have 2 rounds, he wants to do a music trivia in the middle, which would be kind of fun. So it's going to be bingo, trivia, and Yahtzee. And I started making a, you know, how we would advertise this. I made a mock-up of what it would look like. I make a mock-up of the scorecard. And once we decide how many of those things to use, then we can use those. If you'd like to see them, I can send them to you.
No,
Yeah.
but I have a question. So if people use the same card and let's say you do 4 corners, do they turn that into you or to get the winner, do you wait till the very end when all 14 are done?
When they Yahtzee,
So essentially the whole card will be filled more probably, right?
multiple cards can have, so one card may have B and G and the 4 corners. Somebody else will have the verticals. Somebody else will have, it's a table that is the Yahtzee, not a person.
So each individual has their own card and then the
Yes.
table, got it. Okay. I
Table is
thought
the
you said
Yahtzee.
each table has a card. Okay, got it.
Yeah. So
All right.
it'd be, And we think it'll go very fast, but we won't know till we try it.
And then, but then we're gonna check those somehow, right? We're gonna
Yes,
check.
I've made the lists. Because what we have to do is then I take the lists that they set. Okay. The company, which is called Throwback Tunes, sends us the music. They send us the playlist. They send us everything. It's just very, very easy to do. But what they didn't do was send me a list of the songs in alphabetical order so that I could check them off as we played them. And so it was very difficult to check when we were doing our last test because we had to say, did we play this one? Did we play that one? But once I have this in alphabetical order, it'll be easy. So we'll have people working that'll do the checking to say yes, 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 or no, or you didn't bingo. But I think it'll be okay. But while we're doing the checking for round 1, we'll do trivia. I think it'll be fun. I mean, it's coming together really nicely.
I did find, Cindy, I looked online and I found some of those, those bingo markers.
Oh yeah, do you want those?
Yeah, I think I can get those real cheap. So I think that'll be kind of fun. So everybody,
Be fun. Yeah. I
Has
mean,
a
just
bingo
anything that's
marker.
kind of cutesy would be great. That
yeah,
doesn't cost much. The only thing that we haven't decided, we know that we're going to play the songs for 10 seconds. We know kind of our format now is, but how many bingos we're going to allow on one table to make that Yahtzee is the one question we have. But also prizes. I just haven't a clue what we're going to do for prizes or if we're even going to have prizes. I
Yeah.
went to, John Myers, he does trivia night, or you guys did trivia night. He did one for Alpine Hills. Were you there, Karen? No, you weren't there at the Alpine Hills one.
I was out of town.
They had cute little prizes. I mean, they were medals, just they were useless, but just kind of, and then they had little certificates that were $1 discount off of a drink at the bar. Something, very cheap, but easy to do. I can't think of what we could do that would be like that, but we need to have something, I guess.
Well, I think what we also have to talk about, and I think, first of all, I think we have to think about timing because I think we've got some decisions that we need to make. Second is, we're not going to have any help from the town
No.
financially. So what we have to figure out is what we think we're going to get in contributions. And then, how much we're going to spend on food, because we're going to have to spend the money for food and everything
Right.
before we know how many people we're going to get. So it's kind of a, it's kind of a crapshoot.
Well,
And
we should know how many people generally, because if we do registration and they do it because if you want to do it by team, I'd set up that whole registration for trivia night where people could register individually and be assigned a team or register as a team.
How did you
Yeah.
do that,
Oh, that's
Karen?
true.
What was that? Was it a,
I have to go back and look, but I think I did a Google form.
oh, okay.
And then we
Something simple.
posted it on the site, like I marked.
do you know how
big
many,
page.
do you know how many drop-ins we had?
Not that many, actually, not enough to swing the needle. What we did have is probably, we had no shows too. So, it kind of all evened out. In fact, I think I had more tables set and we had more no shows. So the drop-ins don't, they don't do anything for if you have deadlines to register and you communicate and you keep saying this is the deadline kind of thing. But we did have walk-ins.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Did people pay for trivia night?
we
They
asked
made
for a
contributions.
$10 donation.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
you got some
Dave,
donations.
Dave,
Okay.
do you have something to say? Dave has something to say.
Yeah, that was my
ahead,
question about
Dave.
what you said. You said they're donations, so I didn't know if we were
Yeah.
charging or if they were just asking.
Well, we could, I mean, that's the other thing we could do, is we could say it's $10 per
We
person.
could, yeah.
And at least then we, you know, to Karen's point, if we ask for registrations, we'd know a couple days ahead of time how much food we could buy and whether we could, you know, allocate some small dollar towards prizes. But
The one thing I remember, and I didn't check into it for the second trivia night because we weren't charging, is the first time I did check into paying, and there wasn't an easy payment method via the town channels at that point in time, because you could set up your own individual PayPal, but that doesn't seem like that would be very kosher, you know, so it has to be something through the town, and that was something that was at that point in time,
Not possible.
well, too difficult of an ask, let's put it that way,
Oh.
for,
yeah,
Which
but
is why I think-
except we do it for Zots. So
true.
anyway, but I think the point is we're not gonna get help from the town. So what we probably have to do is figure out if we do anything, we do it ourselves. And we have to figure out how to stay within, you know, what we think we're gonna get. So anyway,
Just as one, for a traditional bingo parlor, what they do is charge per card. So I'm
I
not
have
saying you
that,
should.
Yeah, as a thing possible.
yeah,
I don't know how that would work, but that's typically the way bingo parlors make money.
yeah. I
We
mean,
could
were
charge,
gonna
then
get
people
one
could buy
card
multiple cards.
per
People could
person.
buy multiple cards if they wanted.
They could, I guess.
We're just trying to break even on food and drink, right? And
Yeah.
prize money?
Yeah,
Money for prizes, sorry, not prize money.
yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah, I
should
don't
be
think we're trying to make any money. No.
self-funding. Sorry, I want to ask one more question. I'm sorry I wasn't there, but if people mark are people for each round going to use a different card?
No,
Well, then I don't if you get those things where you mark your card for
Mhm.
one game, how it's already marked for the,
Well, no.
there's plenty of
Like,
empty
okay, once-
spots on every card.
yeah,
Well,
but
wait,
but there'll
wait,
be,
I think we're talking about two different things. So there'll be the first round where the first table to get, fills out their
Yahtzee.
Yahtzee card wins. Then we'll play some trivia. Then we hand out new cards for the second game.
The first game has 14 rounds, up to 14 rounds. We haven't decided that yet.
okay, I understand now. It's not each card, each game. You use one card for 14 games. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, you can get a bingo and you can yell bingo if you want, that's great. But it doesn't mean anything until the full table.
Until the table
is
has
all
Yahtzee.
14.
Right.
So you can
Okay.
have multiple bingos on your card to get, to help the table to get to all 14.
Yeah,
But the round's not over until the table
14.
gets. to
Somebody
14.
Yahtzees.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess what I'm getting caught up in, and I hopefully I can be a part of the next test, is let's say you do Four Corners bingo and you've got, you know, America the Beautiful is the song in one of the answers, and then you play N, you know, column N or whatever.
You're not playing any one bingo. You're only playing songs. People mark their card. Might get a B vertical. That's great. Someone else might get a square. Someone else might get, you know, third line down horizontal. We're not saying, okay, this is Foursquare bingo. You get bingo as the songs come up for your own card.
Got it.
Does that make sense? I'm
Yes.
probably not
So
explaining.
you can get any bingo at any time to fill the
Any
Yahtzee.
bingo.
Yes. And anybody at the table.
Yeah. Okay,
So it's really, yeah.
okay.
Okay, so Mike and I want to have another test night where we're going to have it this Thursday, but I don't have enough time to get people together. So he has suggested December 3rd. It's a Tuesday night.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm in Vietnam.
Oh, how
I-
fun. Where?
I have an ad hoc site evaluation committee at 5. So I can't commit to
Um,
the time frame.
I'm traveling for work.
Okay, Mike and I will find a bunch of volunteers and report back. How's that? I think it'll
Well, but
be,
let's
fine.
talk about the timing. I mean.
oh, we need to
if
change the
if
date.
we delay it until February,
Yes,
got
yes,
time.
definitely. And I looked
So-
at the February calendar and
Yeah.
because of President's holidays and because of the school holidays, the only viable date is like February 8th for a Saturday night.
And when is Super Bowl?
I have no idea. Super Bowl.
Not till,
Ball fan.
I'm on it.
Somebody find that out.
I'm on it.
We did it before Super Bowl last year. And it was also Chinese New Year. There was a lot of things going on. It's Super Bowl is February 9th.
Yep.
Oh, so the 8th works.
Well,
I don't think people travel. I mean, I think we're more concerned about
President's Week
people
is-
leaving town. I don't
Yeah.
think
yeah,
they leave town for
So
the
the only Saturday night that they wouldn't be leaving town for President's Week is the 8th.
I mean, it's not like the Niners are going to be in the Super Bowl. I don't think we have to worry about
Well, hold on
Hey,
to hope.
Christian's back, don't be so negative.
it. I'm very negative. The Niners are not going to be in the Super Bowl.
So-
That's not negative. That's pragmatic, Dave.
So Patty, I think you reserved January 11th for this. You
I
want to,
reserved it. Yeah, that's true. I totally reserved it.
yeah, could you
but-
change that to February?
Yeah, well, does this team feel like we need more time?
I do. More than February? Probably not.
Well, no, more
we
than
have to have-
January.
Because we don't
more
have a
than
meeting
January.
in December, do we?
yes, we have one December 17th.
Oh, we do?
Well, it's
yes.
up to us.
Reason I
It's
thought we
up to
didn't.
us. We don't need to, but a lot of committees don't have December meetings.
Oh,
But
I
it's
think
up
it's the
to us.
library that doesn't, I don't know. somebody-
No, I'm just saying, do we think February would be a better date than January?
Yes, yes.
Okay. All right.
Okay, don't shoot me, but I will not be in town. I think I told you guys that in an email that I was gone the first part of February, but
Oh.
around in the second part. So sorry, you're picking,
Karen, you're killing me.
well,
Who's gonna get the food, Karen?
I had ideas for decorations and food. I will work with you and give you.
You'll have
all
to
the
help me because I
knowledge.
didn't, I
Yes.
wasn't there for trivia, so I don't really know how this works. So you'll have to help me. It's okay.
You were tending bar, Cindy. You don't
But
remember?
I know I didn't buy anything and
Oh,
I saw you at the
I'll
store.
be happy to share my institutional knowledge with you.
Yes, I need institutional knowledge. Yeah.
I can help out. I think I'll
Okay.
be around.
I'm a little lost on all that because I
Okay,
don't.
so I'm hearing that we do want to move it to February.
Yes,
I will check out and see, make sure. So you're saying the only date we could do is the 8th?
it's the most likely because everything else hits the President's Week and the Ormondale and the Corte Madera School District holidays. The other
Okay.
Saturday nights are around those big,
Well, yeah.
everybody's gone dates. It's
Okay.
ski week, it's this, it's that, it's,
All
it's,
right, so I'll check
so
with
it
the
has to be
town and
early.
see if,
We can do
Okay.
February 1st too, right?
you could do the 1st or the 8th, or you could go to the 1st of March, whatever that is.
Well, this sort of ties in. Do you think that we're going to do another trivia night because we're getting a little too?
Yeah, May, I think we decided for trivia night.
Well, we haven't decided,
No,
and
but we talked.
we had talked about January and then May, and then we have the picnic in September is generally. So we'll be crunching the timing, and I just wanted to make sure people were okay with that.
I'm not sure we're gonna have a picnic next year, so
Okay,
What?
let's just keep that in mind.
well, that could
Well,
be, yeah.
if they're gonna cut our budget by 50%,
Oh my God, the town will go wild.
well, I'm just telling you,
Oh.
I don't know how to put on a picnic for 50%
money.
budget cut. But anyway, that's neither
Okay.
here nor there. Um,
Then maybe we should
I
keep
don't
it.
think it's too bad, Karen. I mean, if February, May, I think that,
Or yeah, okay. Yeah,
I
it's 3
don't
months,
see a problem with it.
March, April, May. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, it would have to be February 8th or March 1st. One of
Okay.
those two.
I think we shoot for February 8th.
Okay,
And if that gives you and Mike a little bit more time to put together a test night,
Yeah.
you have some flexibility.
it does. Yeah, we thought,
Okay.
because we need all new
Okay.
people for our test. Good.
Okay. Anything else on game night?
No, we'll decide on the contributions later, right? No, I think that's it.
How long did a single game last when you tested it? When you just played
Oh,
one,
just an hour.
one?
But it was a
one
lot
hour?
of, well,
Wait,
because we,
Wait, is that 14 bingo games? took
oh
an
my
hour?
God, no, we just came up with that later.
That
Just
was pretty fast.
one bingo.
So just one column was an hour?
Well, because we
Oh,
were talking a lot. We were,
yeah, no.
we were
took
deciding,
it
do we
took
want one card, two cards? Do we
18
want five?
songs
I
to
mean,
get
we
one
made a lot of
bingo.
decisions that
Wait,
night.
you
10
guys
seconds,
are-
20 seconds, 30 seconds. We went through a lot of stuff. So that wasn't a good test in terms of how much time it took.
It took 18 songs to get the first bingo.
There, that's a good, yeah.
That better.
The first
Okay.
bingo or the first Yahtzee?
Bingo, we didn't
first
have Yahtzee
bingo.
last time.
First bingo.
Oh,
So 10 seconds a song, 5 seconds, 30 seconds in between that you can kind of figure out.
3
But
minutes.
after that, then we did the next one. I think it took only about 12 to get the next one. So after that, it goes pretty fast.
Well, and the more cards you have out there, the more people
Exactly.
playing, the faster it's gonna go.
But that's what we
Exactly.
want to test. We
Yeah.
want to see how long it would take to get to Yahtzee.
Yeah, and that's our big question. And so if 14 is too many, then we want to like take away the horizontals or, do something that the Yahtzee card doesn't have 14 different bingos on it. Anyway, we'll work that out when we test it. Yeah,
Okay,
Okay.
I'm not sure I would, Yahtzee, it's not Yahtzee. It's a combination of bingos,
Yeah, we're
right?
not calling it
Yahtzee.
Yahtzee. We're just
No.
Okay, good,
using
'cause that's,
Yahtzee as a example
right,
example
of what we're
Right.
of,
doing.
of that sort of thing.
Yeah, we're not calling it
Combo.
Yahtzee,
yeah, okay.
just the concept.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Okay, anything else on what about the town courts? So I had a meeting with Corey and I asked her many, many questions, which we'll get to. One of the questions that I asked her was about the resurfacing of the courts. And a couple of questions. Number one, do we think that I know this was kind of a rhetorical question to ask, but was there any money left in the budget for potentially resurfacing the courts? And if there was not money left in the budget, I indicated that the pickleball community was willing to do a GoFundMe to raise the money to do it. And would that be something that would be acceptable to the town? So
And
those
she
are the
did.
questions I asked her. I got back a note from her today because I asked her for an update. She said that there's absolutely no money in the budget for resurfacing. They're really scrubbing the budget to get to the balanced budget, which I totally understand. I totally get. She did say, however, that she has not had a chance to run it by legal to figure out how the town would about a GoFundMe to do the fundraising. So I don't have an answer.
That's a bummer. Can I show you the pictures of what the court looks like?
No.
Okay. I mean, they are in such bad shape. We have multiple lines. They're
I understand, Cindy, but
just awful.
you know, the town doesn't have the money.
I know, but we're
And
willing to pay. I mean, all
I
three
asked
courts
the question. We can't do anything
until
without
she
going
gets to legal.
forward with the town's okay. I've asked the question. I've told her that we would like to do it before the rains come, which they're gonna start this weekend.
Yeah, they are.
So I don't know what to tell you, Cindy. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you.
I know.
Um,
I can't do anything either.
the, I'm trying to remember how this went. So there is a way to make the donation to the town. Unfortunately, it takes staff time, but if people made direct donation, one of the things to check into with Corey is a direct donation to the town. It's similar, it's the same as a GoFundMe, except that people would get a tax deductible contribution for, but they would donate the money directly to the town and then say this money is meant for the resurfacing of the pickleball courts.
But I don't
That
know
would
why
be
it would have
great.
to be to the town. Why couldn't it be a GoFundMe?
Well, it could be, it depends on if people want to get a tax deductible donation or not.
That was one of my questions was because, you know, I'm the archivist for the library and the library had a building fund. And I thought that building fund was a separate 501c3 building fund. And I wanted to know if I needed to set that up for the town for us to donate so people could use it as a deduction. But they're nowhere near coming to that kind of decision, are they? But Karen, that's a good, I like that.
We need to double check, but you should be able to
You
do
should be
that.
able to donate to the town for a specific purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. That's how people make
Well,
donations all the time.
Yeah, can I
But you have
chirp
to have,
in a
you
little
have to-
bit?
wait,
Um,
Dave, let me
okay.
finish.
Yes,
Committee
please,
member
go ahead.
talking. You have to have the problem is you need to have the staff and to be able to, you know, over in the finance area to be able to do the proper accounting and recording, and that I'm not sure about.
Hmm.
So,
Is that a question for Anthony?
Well,
Tony?
He's
Tony?
I
the,
think,
the
Tony
finance
McFarland,
guy.
yeah.
Dave Cardinal, did you have something to say?
I do, actually, that might be relevant. Blues and Barbecue found that trying to have the donations and sponsorships run through the town was a complete disaster. So they set up their own, in their case, 501c3. In your case, if you're willing to not have people get a tax write-off, a GoFundMe sounds perfect, and a single check to the town. And I know Corey has to check with a lawyer, but on no planet do I see that being a problem. I mean, people have specialized donations all the time. So the donation from the GoFundMe should be able to be for the repaving the courts, and it should go smoothly. I would not send 100 tiny checks to our understaffed finance department since,
Right.
like I said, they lost all the Blues and Barbecue checks for the last 4 years. So
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's the issue is how do we do something that requires the least amount of effort from the
From the town.
but gets us what we need.
And we do need it. I mean, God, the cracks are so big now. One other question, if we can't get that part done, can we at least get a firm quote for doing all three courts?
by we, you mean the pickleball team or you want?
Anybody, the town, can we request that we at least get the quote so we know how much money we'd have to raise?
Well, Howard got an estimate before he
For
left.
just one, he just got it for one court, but there's a lot of cracks on the other courts, a lot.
Yeah, but don't you just multiply it times 3?
No, because there aren't any cracks on the third court. The court that they got the estimates for
Well,
doesn't have any
okay,
problems.
his quote that he got
Was
was
8,000 plus
8,000
2,000,
per
so you're
court.
saying 30.
Sydney, can I talk?
Okay,
What the quote that he got was 8,000 per court to paint. And then 2,000 per court to fix the cracks. So we're only fixing the cracks on one court. That's 2,000. And we're painting 3 courts. That's 24. That's 26. So are you saying we need something more specific than that?
well, the difference is that all 3 courts have different quantities of lines, different quantities of paint, different quantities of complexity. The court that we got the estimate on was court 3, which just basically needed all the extra yellow lines taken out. And just tennis lines put on with the 2 ends of basketballs. That's a smaller job than putting in 4 pickleball courts or doing a blended court, as is court 2. I just don't think they're the same price. And the cracks on court 1 and 2 are really huge. And there's water underlying.
Well, I don't
court
even,
1 and
okay.
2.
I doubt very much whether we will get resources from the town to go out and get another quote.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
so it
But
costs money to do that? Okay,
Okay,
Dave.
well, Dave Carter will have his hand up first, so I'll let him go.
Dave Bailey's on the committee. He gets to go first.
Oh, so if we know the vendor, just call him up and say, hey, can you just have him requote it?
Yeah, I
Like,
mean,
why, we don't need
that's why I
Howard.
was
Yeah,
asking,
just say, hey,
is that something-
It's so valid.
yeah, is that something we would do ourselves? Which I'm happy to call them up because I don't think we're going to get anybody from the town to do it. Dave Cardinal, do you have a comment?
I do, having some experience. I was president of Alpine Hills for a few years
Hmm.
on tennis courts. Saviano or anybody else, I think, would be delighted to come out and give you a bid for what that's worth. Unfortunately, with the cracks, the problem is we found there and still find is that there's usually an underlying cause. And I think Cindy mentioned water. So I think you kind of have to decide based on your budget. Do you want to sort of repaint and kind of pave over the cracks? Or ideally, if you were a tennis club, you dig down and try and deal with the underlying problem that causes that. I don't see that you have the resources. I just want to point that out, that sort of papering over the cracks, they're going to come back in 1 to 2 years, but that may be the best you can do. So that's just my experience.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
I think you're right.
Well, yeah, it sounds like my driveway. I mean, I just have them tar the cracks every 2 or 3 years because I'm too cheap to redo the whole driveway. But you have to keep redoing them because to your point, you're not fixing the underlying problem. So, okay, I'm happy to, I'll continue working with this, with the town, and I'll see if I can't get at least an answer from Corey. If we could, well, here's a question, Cindy. The
Mhm.
people not doing, do you think they're going to want a tax deduction?
I don't know if they do or not. A lot of these people just want the courts fixed. You know, I don't know that they want a tax deduction. I just didn't know whether the town would take money from individuals without that kind of fund set up. If
Like,
we collected it
like-
all and sent one check, I mean, as a club, I mean, these are all,
I think Dave Carter was spot on that we should use the GoFundMe to collect the funds, and then once we to make sure that we have enough, and then once we have enough, send one check to the town. Or even
Something like
better,
that.
send one check to the painter and surfacer. Just keep the town out of it and get it done.
Why couldn't we just
Yeah.
pay them directly?
Can we?
Yeah, that's
We
that's the question for the town legal, I think.
Yeah. Because
Oh, yeah, we need legal
we're,
for
you
that.
know, we're modifying a
know.
town asset. You know, that,
Yeah, no, I just but if they say yes, then let's just get it done.
okay. All right, well, I could certainly follow up on that with Corey.
Gosh, wouldn't that be great? I mean, people are just chomping at the bit to give me money. Mm,
Okay, all right, I will follow up with Corey on that. And see,
Okay,
if
great.
just tell her that, you know, we're really looking for a solution that's faster, but that doesn't involve the town, and this is what we're, you know, potentially willing to do. You know, to me, that's a 2-minute conversation with Catherine, but maybe I'm simplifying, I don't know.
It would be great.
Okay. All right, I will follow up on that. Anything else on the courts?
No,
Okay, gee, let's talk about the off-leash dog area.
You're on mute, Karen.
Okay, yeah, so between this meeting and our last one, Patty had spoken with Corey. And so she can give an update, but one of the things that has now been done, I just checked before this meeting because I never got confirmation. The survey results are posted. And there you have to go to town committees, and then click on Parks and Rec on the left side, and then the dog survey results are there. So I will now send something out in the forum so that people know it's there, but I didn't see it anywhere else, you know, on the town site. So we've got that done, and the next step would be to do site evaluation and figure out a pilot. But in the interim, Patty had a conversation with Corey, and you might want to give an update on that.
Yeah, so, sorry, I was just looking for our, where is the,
Oh, you have to go, do you want me to share? You have to go to
Oh, I found it.
town committees,
yeah,
and then you go to Parks and Rec, and when you click
Yeah.
on Parks and Rec, then underneath
oh,
Parks
there
and
it
Rec
is.
in the left
Oh, yeah.
column, it is not easy to find. I will say that. So, but I can at least via the forum direct people to that link. So
There it
there's a
is.
little, yeah.
Look at that, very
And then
nice.
if you click on the link, you get the PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah,
So it is
yeah,
there. So that's
very
good.
nice.
Yeah.
That is good, that is good,
Um,
okay.
so that's where we're at with that, but I have no other news other than, we had one, I would call it an anecdotal complaint, about the dogs off leash at Town Center. Patty received an email regarding that, and, you know, as much as people think it isn't an issue, there are unhappy residents who feel that they aren't being able to enjoy their use of Town Center. So,
Yeah. Dave?
Anecdotally, the former commissioner of the AYSO, local AYSO, is one of the reasons she's stepping down is because of the hassles of dealing with dogs in fields and soccer players.
At Town Center?
Yeah,
That would be nice to publicize. So yes, I did talk to Corey. One of the things that Corey agreed to, which she's already done, which I think is great, is posting the survey results on the webpage, which I think is fantastic. Visibility out there. that we do have support for a dog area in town, and that we are going to keep moving forward to try and understand what we possibly could do as a pilot. Now, what I did talk to Corey about was town support in case we wanted to move forward with anything. She made it pretty clear, I don't think this will come as a surprise to anybody, that the town is not a priority for the town right now, especially in terms of if it required anything financial, like for a pilot program, if we had to erect fences or if we had to do anything, you know, to prep the grounds or anything like that, we could not depend upon the town for any kind of support to get that done. Just not a priority. I would love to see it done. There's just too many other things going on. Dave?
Do you think we can have money for like signage?
Signage?
Yeah.
Well, we need a lot of things. We need probably fencing. We'd need signage. We would need.
Well, I mean, but like fencing is expensive. Signage is hundreds of dollars, not tens of thousands of dollars.
No, fencing, we're thinking like temporary fencing. Because for a
Oh,
pilot
okay.
program,
No, so-
we were just thinking of putting up, you know, not something permanent. It's a pilot. You know, we don't want to put up something permanent.
Okay.
So, I mean, Karen, you could jump in here, but we were trying to think of what we could get by minimally just to put together a pilot program. And fencing was one, signage was another. We'd probably have to get, you know, trash cans. You know, there are probably a list of several things that we would have to put together to get to the point where we would have something that people would want to come out and actually bring their dogs to test, so that it would, you know, kind of actually represent what the product might be. So we'd get realistic feedback. The thing that happened is I did hear from, and I'm spacing on her name right now. Is it Marianne Berkowitz, the one that wanted to join our committee from Ladera?
Yes, that is who it is.
Yeah, I did hear from her because she wanted to know what we were doing, because she said that people in Ladera are getting very fed up with the kind of informal dog park that they have at the school. Is it called Woodlands or?
Woodlands, yeah.
Woodland, yeah.
Yeah, she said that that is losing favor with a lot of people in the area because it has become dangerous with dogs and students and residents, and that the people, residents of Ladera, are now asking to get a more formalized dog area because they don't support that one anymore. And she wanted to know what we were doing. So I brought her up to speed. Certainly between Portola Valley and Ladera, that would bring a lot more support to a potential off-leash dog area. But I also told her we didn't have anything specific. All we had were the results of the survey, which says that our residents want one too. So that's kind of where we are. I don't know, Karen, is there anything else you want to add there?
No, I don't think so. That about sums it up, where we are. And I see Nancy has her hand raised, so,
Yeah, I know.
okay, yeah,
I was just trying to get through my little spiel.
yeah.
I'm sitting in, I've met some of you. I'm a resident here at the Sequoias. I've been working for 7 years to try to get a promised play area here since we do allow dogs. I also was on the Parks and Rec in Mountain View, and I worked with when they were getting their dog park. So I'm just sort of sitting in. I'm obviously very interested in what's going on, hopefully not to the exclusion of our getting something for our residents here. But, you know, like the Portola Valley is short on funds, we seem to have higher priority items like a 60-year-old boiler that needs to be replaced. So the poor old doggies are pretty getting lower and lower on our priority list. But two things. First of all, just a reminder, I think you had talked about the shared use, and I do go over to Menlo Park, and that is a ball field that is opened on designated hours. It's just 8 to 10 in the morning, Monday through Friday. And they do have the double gates. There's a large group of dogs that go there and stuff. And then, of course, the rest of the time it's used as the ball field. So compared to dedicated space just for a dog play area, which is, you know, what they do have in Mountain View. The other thing, although I have not looked at it recently, when you're hearing me chatting a little bit about even something temporary, there's a lot of stuff on the web about setting up a community, you know, different communities and how they went about getting a dog park and what they needed to do and whatever. So I just point that out as a resource, and you may have already explored that. But there's a lot of other groups of people that had sort of been down this route. So just so you don't totally reinvent the wheel on some consideration. So that's mostly my comments, less other questions. Yes, Cindy.
Um,
Yeah.
the Mountain View Dog Park, can you tell me where it is and if it's grassy?
Okay, so there's two of them. The primary one, the big one that was initiated by residents, and residents just kept coming forward. I remember when I was on the Parks and Recs there. It is a large one that is out by Shoreline Park.
Oh,
So if you head through Google, I call it Googleville, if you head through Googleville and aim for Shoreline Park, before you go through the little area where there's the little gatehouse that there may or may not be a person, take a right, because dogs are not allowed out on Shoreline, you know, the park area. But if you take a right, and the dog park is there, and there is a very large area, and for large dogs, and then for small dogs, it has a common access area with the double gating, and you know, you go one direction to a smaller park and one direction to a larger park. It is nice in that one of the things I've noticed with my experience with dog parks is it's away from a lot of other, you know, traffic. While there's cars that go by, but it's sort of out in the boonies a little bit, which is a nice plus. So you don't have the challenge with neighbors complaining, etc. The surface there that they have is DG, decomposed granite, which is it works quite well. I don't know.
I'll be right back.
The main thing is with that particular surface, in the summer, sometimes it needs to be sprayed to keep it down. But in the winter, when it rains and stuff, it is, you know, it drains relatively quickly. And it's as I
it's not
said, it's a very
grass,
large area. Pardon me?
not grass.
Oh, no, not
No,
grass.
it's
Not grass.
okay.
Grass is just not possible. Then more recently in the urban area around San Antonio Road and El Camino, where Sears used to be, and there's tons of high-rise apartments, hotels,
Oh.
etc. They have the urban park, and you can Google that and forget what urban green. I forget what the name of it is. Just do, you know, Mountain View Dog Park, and
Okay.
you'll see pictures of it. That is the design on that is amazing. It's smaller. They do have the artificial turf, which I have found to be totally satisfactory. And they also, what they did, since it's in between a lot of high rises and stuff, they have some shrubbery around the fencing, and they also, it's this fun place to just go over and visit. you know, you can also go to Trader Joe's and Safeway and whatever while you're over in that geographic area. Some of the dogs, they spent a lot of bucks on, I'm guessing maybe some of the developers had to pitch in, but they have the sculptures of the dogs and all of the art and the amenities. It is it's both functional, it's not huge, but it's both functional and very, very well integrated into the urban center. So those two are quite, I don't want to say extreme. They're just totally different models of what is there. But I typically go, I usually go when I'm running errands out by, Costco or whatever. I go to the one on Shoreline. So they might be worth visiting. So I have that. As
Yeah.
compared to, so like I was just over in Menlo Park at what's it called? Neely? It's on Middle Avenue. I forget the name of the
Elon.
Elon
Yeah.
Park.
Yeah.
Elon.
Elon.
So I was there, in fact, I was there yesterday. And that's grass, which understandably is, for a ballpark and ball fields and stuff. And boy, the grass, I don't know whether it had been overwatered or whatever, but that really gets pretty muddy and yucky. I mean, if I had to choose of those, so there's 3 surfaces and it's just one person's perspective. The artificial turf would be my first choice. Deacon Crow's granite, my second. It's hard to say. Grass is just a problem. Likewise, some parks I go to, like there's another one in Mountain View that is over by the senior center, and it has bark, the mulch. That's a real pain in the neck for multiple reasons. Number one, it's too easy, to hide the poop. I'll tell you, the other places I go where you can see it, the owners are very responsible picking it up, and you sort of monitor one another as far as, hey, is that your dog over there? It's time to head over with your poop bag and stuff. So, but anyway,
Yeah.
that's
So,
that's a little bit of
Um,
my experience and comments.
yeah, thank you. We have looked at mixed use. I mean, we looked at Ford Field. Little League was very adamantly opposed to using Ford Field. Their position is that the dogs have pretty much tore up the one on Middle because it is mixed use. So I think Ford Field would probably be one of our last resorts. That's just me talking, but I think that would be a hard sell to Little League. Dave, just for my notes, who did you say is pulling out of the town center soccer field?
The AYSO.
No, sorry. The commissioner is resigning as one of the reasons she's resigning as commissioner
Resigning.
is
Oh,
hassle dealing with
Oh.
the dog owners and the interplay of them interfering with practices.
oh. Can
So
you get her to write a letter to the town?
Or at least
can
to
try.
Parks and Rec, because we're hearing about this stuff, but it would be much better to have things in writing.
Nice to have something
to
documented.
have, yeah, exactly.
It'd be really nice to have that documented.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did think of 2 other things I should have said is I found out that Christine Boland, who's our interim town clerk, was instrumental in getting a dog park set up in San Carlos, which I believe is also on that mixed use field. I can't remember the name of it. And so she was really busy catching up with a lot of things, but she said she'd be happy to chat with us and share her learning. And then I wanted to throw this out as I was thinking about things, is I saw the notice that the fields are going to be closed December 2nd for maintenance. So as we were thinking about potential sites or shared use, we lose, if we continue with the same maintenance plan, we don't have that option during the winter periods when they're reseeding and doing all the stuff to the fields. And
Yeah.
I
yeah, that's
hadn't,
true.
I'd overlooked that
Yeah,
until
that's
I
true.
saw that announcement and I went, oh,
How
okay.
long are they closed?
They're closed all
Hmm.
winter. There was a note in the forum, I believe it was in the forum or one of the town
Yeah,
weeklies that
it
they
was at the
closed
forum. Yeah.
the two soccer fields for sure, and I don't know about Ford Field.
No, Ford Field is closed.
And they're closed December 2nd, and it's all through the winter, like through the end of February, I think.
Yeah.
Does that
for
sound about right?
maintenance, just all maintenance, and,
pretty
regrowth of the
good thing
grass,
that
and things like that.
The
Plus it
Menlo,
gets,
I'm trying
it just
to,
gets
I don't,
too muddy with the rains to have anybody on the fields. It really tears them up. So,
yeah, Menlo is closed. I went over there one time and it was closed, but I honestly, I don't know what the total time frame is that, you know. Well, I guess you can post a sign that says it's temporarily closed, and temporarily could be the entire winter. So I don't know whether there were any dates on when it was not accessible. However, they did over near, they sort of set up a temporary area over near Little House. I forget how it was set up. So you didn't have the huge, large field, but there was some backup there.
so the other thing that Karen and I kind of want to pursue is that Catherine McGill, who's the chairman of the Conservation Committee, they've been adamantly opposed to some of the sites that we have brought up in the past. It seems like she has indicated that she's more open to having conversations with us about some areas. I don't think Springdown is one of them. I still think that's the one with the most promise, probably the one with a lot more obstacles. I think Catherine was a little more open to potentially using that area in the town center next to the courts. But that was kind of a passing conversation. So potentially what Karen and I were thinking is that one of us might reach out to her to see, potentially how serious she was, and then maybe attend a conservation committee meeting just to have a level conversation with them to see about, again, how open are they to potentially working with us as opposed to how they've been in the past. So that's one thing that we might pursue a little more. So other than that,
When is their next meeting? Do we know?
I'm sorry.
Does
What's
anyone
that?
happen to know when their next meeting is?
I don't.
Okay, on it.
It's on the calendar.
I'm on it. Maybe.
Pardon?
They
I'm
usually have
gonna-
theirs.
I'm gonna interject. I think we need to have the conversation with her first, because one of the things in the dog park survey is the first desire was a large open field to throw a ball, and the second desire was a fenced in area. So we need to explain, conservation, as we know, is against fencing. So we need to have that conversation first, I think, before we go to a meeting. That would be my
That's true.
thought. Yeah,
That's fair. That's
Yeah.
fair. Yeah. But I think maybe the next step is to have a conversation with Catherine.
yeah,
Just to see how open she is about it. I mean, she did, well, I won't say.
right.
She seemed a little more open to fencing in that area. Dave Cardinal, you've had your hand up for a while.
Sure. One kind of off the wall thought is that Stanford's going to develop about 10% of the land they have in the wedge, leaving 65 or 66 acres as open space, including a lot of fire breaks and space. I think given that the Hawthorns seems to be allergic to doing anything related to people using their property, and the town center is apparently too small for anyone to use their property. One other idea would be to take some of that, have Stanford put a dog park in. I'm not sure how to get that done, but if I look around town for sites that you could put something reasonable in, I kind of keep coming up short. So that was my one thought.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I did way back when we tried to do this proposal 3 years ago is I got a map from the town of all the town-owned parcels. And there's a lot of them, but not any other than the most obvious ones that lend themselves to a dog area. Most of them are on slopes, they're in, very wooded areas. They're just not usable. There's, like I said, there's that area up in Blue Oaks. Well, first of all, it's not very accessible. Second, it's a very steep wooded area. Doesn't lend itself to an area. So, yeah, I don't know about Stanford. And I don't know what their parcels look like in town or how open they would be to, the dog area, but those are things we got to look at. So I think the only realistic next steps are, potentially to talk to Catherine and maybe just keep in line with Ladera, see what they're doing. Maybe hope we got some support on the upcoming town council. I just don't think we're going to get any financial support. Problem. Anything else in from anybody? Very depressing, very frustrating. Okay, Hawthorns.
Okay. The days are all blending together. Hello?
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay. I believe that we had the Mid-Penn presented to the ad hoc Hawthorns committee after our last Parks and Rec committee meeting. So that was basically a presentation of the HOG recommendations and then and a request for feedback, but that they would take into consideration. And then they met with the town council the following week and received some feedback from them. There wasn't anything new that came out. The question is between the two parking options that are both along Alpine. There's a difference of opinion of which one is safer, which one might help the rebuilding of the Alpine Trail more, but it did come out that Portola Valley would be responsible for like improvements to the intersection. And again, we don't have a lot of money with which to do anything. The other thing that came out, I think, in my opinion, from both meetings is we still questioned why they're running two parallel projects, a little bit of different timing, but between the two pieces of property. And I will say they were supposed to meet with the Planning Commission the following week about fast tracking the barn because and using it in conjunction with Willow Commons, and that meeting got canceled. I do not know why. So the next step is that Mid-Penn, again, just for the property with the trails, would go present to their board and then come back to the permitting process for, with Portola Valley. And there was a question about that arose about the conservation easement and if they could use those parking areas. I don't know. Does anyone have any questions about that? I feel like I'm a broken record on this. It's a long process. Let's put it that way.
Excuse me, I see your chat is disabled. I just wanted to say thank you for all your work doing on the dog park, and I'm gonna drop out. If I
No.
can help with anything, let me know.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Nancy.
I don't know,
Yeah.
Patty, do you want to add anything? You were in that meeting. I mean,
Yeah, I think chat is disabled for all of these meetings because of the legal issue. No, I think that's a good representation. I mean, I would let the team know that I think the most controversial part of the plan is still the connection to Sweet Springs and the opinions of PV Ranch about that connectivity. But the plan, at least in the interim term, next 2 to 3 years, well, it'll be 2 to 3 years before it even opens. And then even after that, 2 to 3 years, is that any connectivity to Sweet Springs is going to be delayed or postponed until there can be more analysis and study done on what potential traffic might be on those trails. So PV Ranch has, in my opinion, 5 or 6 years before anything realistically happens, if at all, to Sweet Springs. There are still some people in town who
No.
feel very strongly that we should be honoring the general plan, and which discusses connectivity to Sweet Springs in specifically, but people in PV Ranch have a different opinion. So I think, in my opinion, that's the most controversial. It's the one we don't have to make a decision about right away, but it's still kind of out there. So I don't know, Karen, if you agree with that.
no, I do, but Mid-Penn is presenting a plan that does not have that connectivity in there.
Yes. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, so that's out of the picture. So the controversial issue now is whether the entrance is at the current three-way stop. And actually, since that, I had a neighbor point out that apparently there's a huge amount of ground squirrels that live in that area, and did actually write to Mid-Penn about it. So, but I've heard nothing about that. And or whether they go in where the existing entrance is, where the ranger, up to the ranger's house. But there's still a question about that parking area. But I just think we're gonna have to wait and see what comes back to the town at this point in time.
Yeah. Dave Cardinal?
Oh, thanks. 3 comments after I went to the meeting. First, I think their traffic engineer is amazing, and I think we should hire him for us. The suggestions he gave for the Portola Alpine intersection were great. He explained that if you want people to be safer, you have to make the road narrower. And right now, when you come up Alpine Road and turn right on Portola, there's this huge kind of slough where you can just kind of race around the corner. He's like, that's not safe. So I thought it was great. And I think he gave a lot of really good reasons for where they want to put the intersection, and including legal ones, like you can't stick a stop sign in the middle of the block. So I know everybody wants to be an amateur traffic engineer, but I actually was very impressed by him, and I've had some experience in that area. The trail crossing, all I can say is I agree it's a big issue, but I don't know enough to have an opinion on it. On the barn, I would love to see, I mean, Willow Commons is perhaps the most enlightened development or project that's happened in our town in at least 10 years. I mean, you've got 10 or 12 people with Down syndrome trying to learn their way. They're going to walk over to Roberts in the hardware store to work, and they want to do something for them in the barn. I don't know all the details of what the planning process is, but my God, like what could be better for humanity is my thought on that. Oh, and as the ground squirrels, I've been a wildlife photographer a long time. I've photographed probably 12 species of ground squirrels. Some are a lot cuter than the California ground squirrels. We're not short on them. A lot of residents are trapping them. So, and getting rid of them. So I don't, as much as they're very cute, I'm not sure that we should move a road to avoid the little holes they put all over, but
Dave,
that's a
there,
thought. Thank you.
yeah, but this concern was the neighbor said the ground squirrels are gonna move into the adjoining neighborhood. That was her concern. It wasn't that they're cute or we're destroying their habitat. It's that where will they go? So I don't.
Oh, yeah, I don't think they
That-
move that. I don't think they
Well,
move that
I'm
far.
just sharing what her concern was. Well, she said that
Okay.
happened in the past. She knows, anyway,
I
I'm not
think we
gonna get
just,
into that. I'm not an expert on that.
I
Okay.
think we just breed more coyotes. I think that's,
Yeah.
Hawks, we need
We have
hawks.
plenty of those.
and you know what?
Mm.
When they're done with the ground squirrels, they can come over to Westridge and go after the turkeys. Because
They- they-
we have turkeys. If you need a turkey
Okay.
for Thanksgiving, come on over. I
Can
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 show
they
you
go to
how
town center and
all are. They're a
you
major
still on the
nuisance.
Carl? Can we say that they can go
Terrible.
to town center and take care of the? Can they go to town center and take care of the off-leash dogs?
Okay, we're getting out of control. Anything else on Hawthorns?
You started it.
Did I?
No, I have no more updates on Hawthorns.
Okay. Status of
there-
Rosati's field parking.
Can I
I
make
know
a
we need to talk
request?
about
Can we,
what- Sorry, Dave,
Uh,
go ahead.
in the minutes, can we have links to the Hawthorns, like whatever their web page is to find stuff?
What are you trying to find? There, Hawthorns, there's like zillions of documents out there about Hawthorns.
Is there one website?
Yeah.
Is there one
Yeah.
website to rule them all or not?
You know, Dave, what I might, well, this is a hard one, but what I might recommend is going to the town meeting, the presentation to the town council or to the ad hoc committee, and looking
Yeah.
at that presentation because it's a summary. Because
Yeah.
there's literally thousands of pages of information
Awesome.
at this point in time.
All right.
I would go
Thanks.
to one of those. It's not the exact same presentation that they gave, but it gives you the diagram and the parking options and all of that.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, Rosati's field parking. This was another thing I talked to Corey about. Told her two things. I said, number one, if Alpine Inn is actually paying for Ford Field parking, and she nodded her head vigorously and told me they were, but she wouldn't tell me how much. I did tell her that I thought the revenue plan for next year should reflect that because there was no money in there reflecting the additional revenue that they're going to get from Ford Field parking. And depending upon, the back of the envelope numbers that I put together, it could easily be $20,000 or $25,000 if they're really paying for what they're using. I also mentioned to her that I thought we should be aggressive in renegotiating the Rosati's parking lot because they're only paying something like $10,000 a year, which is ridiculous. And we should up that, and we should also obviously make it mandatory that they set aside parking for soccer usage. And she nodded her head vigorously on both, but I don't have any resolution on that. So I know there was some communication going back and forth about that parking. So I'll let you guys talk now. Karen?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I've brought this up in several meetings, and the last one was that the town council has approved, they're doing a fee usage study, and the parking fees are a part of that study. And they can't fast track, I asked if they could fast track that piece of it, but they have to do it comprehensively. And they need to do it according to the advice they got, is they need to do it with this particular, one of these particular companies, so that I guess the appropriate documentation is there. The risk is they could get sued if they just do it on their own, or we have volunteers do it. So the time frame of that is 6 to 9 months before we get the recommendations on the change in the fee structure. And as we know, this has been going on far too long, but that is where they're at officially and what they chose to do.
Yeah, it hasn't been renegotiated since 2010.
Right, and it was supposed to be, well, the fee structures, all this analysis and research was supposed to be done, is supposed to be done, I think on a regular basis, at least every 10 years. And they're saying that it hasn't been done in quite a long time, but I don't know the exact years, but that's the status of that, is we're not gonna see anything soon, but we should get the reflection of the revenues from the parking attributed to Parks and Rec.
Yeah, I just think, I kind of call bullshit on that a little bit. I think that that's probably relevant for Ford Field parking, because you can get, maybe comparables. For the Rosati parking, that parking lot is completely different. First of all, it's a contract. It's not a fee schedule. Second, I don't know. I'm not going to go into it. I'm not a lawyer. I kind of call bullshit on that, but I'm not going to fight City Hall. So, whatever. Were there other comments? I know there was some. Dave, I see your hand. Hold on. Any questions that were going back and forth about the Ford Field parking? Did we address all those? Was it right?
You know what, I guess, Dave, I don't know how updated you are, but how is, we did go by there the other day, and there were cars parked out on Alpine because there was a Little League game. So, when there's Little League, and the fact that the Zots employees
Well-
are always parking there, I don't know, has there been have you heard anything?
I haven't, and my good friend, I think, is no longer the president as well. Was that just on Sunday when there was parking out there on the street?
Yes.
I think that's,
Yeah.
yes.
I think that was because it was the championship of fall ball, and so everyone was there. So I think that was a special day where even like it was just lots of people there because it was a big game. So I'd take that as an outlier.
But I thought that the agreement, when I thought that you had talked to them, and the agreement was
There was no, but
giving
but
them
Little
their,
Little League by itself could have fills up Ford Field on a big day.
yeah, but what I thought in a previous meeting, actually now quite some time ago, Little League was supposed to supply the dates when they needed that field, and Rosati's was not supposed to use the parking lot, but that doesn't seem to be enforced or being done.
Why do you say that?
Because I drive by there all the time, and they're there, there's no Little League, they're there early in the morning. The employees get there and they're parking in that lot like before the games start. You can see the employees that are all parked there.
Okay.
So that's why I'm just wondering how it's working. It just seems like maybe, just like the soccer parking isn't always there when it's supposed to be
Yeah.
there. If it's, I guess you haven't heard anything, but maybe we need to check in with them. With Little
Well,
League,
I can do
the
that.
season is over, so, yeah,
but for
um,
next season.
yeah, no, I agree, I agree. Yeah, they were supposed to let Rosati's know the blackout dates. And they were
Yep,
not
I
supposed to
I
use
will-
it. I agree.
I'm on it. I'm sending that email to those people.
Okay, great, thank you. Dave Cardinal, go ahead.
Sure. I agree that the parking situation is a mess. I live just up from Rosati, so I kind of see it all. We've been trying to monitor whether the parking there has actually impacted the soccer use. And it's a little ambiguous because we have anecdotal evidence that it has, but we have other Google Calendar schedules saying they're still playing. So I'm not totally sure, but either way, I'm sure we're not getting the right amount of money. And I get that, Corey is, she's wonderful and growing, but I'm happy to bring this up. One thing I do have is a lot of, I don't know, I talk to the town council members a lot. And one of the incoming ones, Helen Walter, is extremely experienced in all this stuff. So, for example, somebody said parking meters, and she brought up all the things you need to do to put in parking meters. So I think she's something of an expert in what's possible. And I agree in terms of the study, we need to be careful because there's laws and this and that. But I'm hopeful we can carve around that and do something. And I'm happy to reach out to Craig and Helen and Rebecca and Judith and Mary and try and see if we can get them to, I don't know, do something about this because they can, I think. So, and it irks me as a taxpayer, frankly, that we're getting ripped off. Aside from the fact that Parks and Rec could use the money, so I'm happy to help out with that.
Yeah,
Dave, I
a
mean,
coup-
I certainly can't stop you for doing anything, but I know Karen's been very vocal about this at councilmen's and,
Yeah, and
Mhm.
actually, Dave and Ronnie Krasinski and I had an email exchange, and I followed up on some things, and AYSO was using the field this last season on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 4 and 5 p.m. slots. And I talked to I went over there at 5, shortly after 5 p.m. and talked to about 8 parents who were there, and they said that parking is really, really hard. And it takes about 15 to 20 minutes to get a spot. I don't think it's as bad for the 4 p.m. time slot, just because it doesn't coincide with that. And then Strikers sent a note that said they are using the field very sparingly, only on Mondays when Zots is closed, and that maybe they'll schedule 1 or 2 teams there, maybe. So they're not, their usage is way down, and it's a shame to have that field and not be able
Use it, yeah.
I know,
to use
it's
it.
crazy.
So
It's crazy.
So
One
Patty,
of the most beautiful fields.
do you want me to not do anything?
You're a private
Well, I mean,
citizen, David Cardinal.
I can't stop you from doing anything, and certainly the more voices help. But I think you're probably spitting in the wind. But hey, if you want to do that,
Well, I don't get that. If it would be helpful, I'm happy to do it. If you think it's a waste of time, I'm not going to waste my time.
I think it's a waste of time.
well, yeah, and Dave, they did commission the council did commission the fee study, and they've put it under that. So, I mean, lighting a fire under it, we're not going to stop you from that.
Well, I'm sorry. No, Either it's useful, apparently it's not useful, I'm not gonna waste my time either. So I'm fine, I won't do it.
Well, Dave, don't get us wrong. We appreciate your help. I think what you're hearing is several people have tried and have gotten the same answer, that the town council is committed to this fee study and that they're not going to circumvent that for a short-term solution. I think is what we're hearing.
Okay, but would you like me to try and change that?
Yes, if you can
Okay.
change it, absolutely.
Great, then I'll work on that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, anything else on parking? Okay, the last three things, I may just take off the agenda. 'Cause we never get anywhere.
We never talk about.
Well, I mean, they all take town resources and we're not
Yeah.
gonna get them.
Not gonna get them.
We don't, you know, I mean, is there a way to maybe, not have them on the working agenda, but not lose them completely, because hopefully at some point they will come back on.
I'm happy to leave them on the agenda as long as we all recognize, I mean, I agree with you. I don't want to lose sight of them.
Yeah.
Maybe leaving them on the agenda. You know, keeps them from.
Just can we,
Go ahead, Dave.
just have a table section in the minutes or something out?
Table
Good.
items.
Or we just don't get to them. I don't care. It doesn't matter. It's just semantics.
All right, anything else for Parks and Rec?
Huh?
All
Motion,
right.
motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second,
Second.
stay safe in the wind tomorrow.
Yeah,
Yeah, you too. All right,
Hopefully we don't lose too much power.
yeah. Keep our
Talk to you
fingers
later.
crossed. All
Okay.
right, good night.
take care, everybody. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.